Hi, everybody.
Yeah.
We are here. My name is Kierstyn Stevens. I'm the writer, EP, and lead of a short film called Sext. These are my leadership team. Will y'all introduce yourselves?
Hey everyone, my name is Victoria Renee, and I was the director and one of the producers for Sex.
My name is Jovan. I'm one of the producers for Sex.
Yeah, so we're just here. We wanted to chat about the film. It's been a long journey that we've been on. We shot Sex so pre-production started in 2022 and we shot it top of 2023. And we've been on a journey. And so we want to just kind of like chat about, what got us here, how this even started, and where we're going with it. So yeah, where y'all want to start?
So I want to start from the beginning, obviously, right?
Yeah.
So I want to know like where the idea from Sex came from.
Yeah.
You know, we talked about, you mentioned how it was a bit of a journey, how we got here. So just kind of like walk the people through it.
Yeah, so the initial impetus for Sex started in like 2020, 2021 during COVID. I was working in a different field and I wanted to be a writer, but I didn't know how to write scripts. And so this little book that changed my life, The Artist's Way, I was doing that. And if anybody knows about it, you have to write morning pages. And so you have to write like 3 pages every day. And so I would write, complain about my life, and I didn't like my job and got tired of that. Started writing affirmations, got tired of that. And so then the idea for Sex came. And so the initial question or thought was like, I hate when a dude asks me for a picture, right? And so I'm like, the thought was funny to me. And so I wrote a very, very early version of Sex in my journal, and then probably like a year later, there was like a writing program that I wanted to submit it to. And so I submitted it. It didn't get accepted. And so been thinking much more about it. And then our DP, Anthony Roberson, we were working on a project and he was directing and he was like, yo, you got anything? And I'm like, well, I got this like one thing. It's like a little silly. So I sent it to him. It was like October, November 2021. And so he read it and like hit me back on a voice note like, yo, we gotta make it. We should make it. And I'm like, okay, talk to you later. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, I didn't think anything of it. I wasn't thinking about making anything at the time. And then like a year later, I had relocated to LA and was in a writing community and we were at a writers group. And so we all are a part of a writers group called Tune Up, which was started by Dante Bailey, a USC alumni. And Tune Up just allows us to showcase our work for the culture, basically, different creatives and giving feedback on it. And so I shot a different script there. And Victoria was there that day. Anthony was there that day. I don't think you were there that day, Jovan. But we're talking about the script, and Anthony brings up out of nowhere. I literally feel like it was out of nowhere. He was like, y'all, she got this script. Y'all gotta read it. It's funny. And I'm just like, whatever. So, but after me and Victoria, she was like, well, what, tell me about the script. And I was like, it's one location, one character. It's, a little funny thing. And she's like, well, send it to me. Let me see what it is. So I sent it to her. And from what I know now, we started pre-production basically after our conversation, after the script. So
Oh, wow.
that was like November 2022. Yeah. That was
Wait,
a minute ago.
how soon after you had talked to Victoria that you started
Like, I sent it to her that next day. So Tuna was on a Tuesday. I sent it to her that next day. She probably hit me like hours later, like, oh yeah, let's jump on a call.
Oh, wow.
That was like literally it was that quickly. And so
yeah, but the thing was like Ann had talked to me about it. So me and Ann were working together. He was working on some commercials that I was doing back in like I want to say, when was that? Like May, June, we had shot it or whatever. So I don't know if you sent him the script long before then.
It was like the year prior, like
okay,
we
so
hadn't talked about it.
It was so prominent that I guess it just sat with him. Because he told me about it then. He was like, hey Vic, you said you want to direct and produce more. There's like this script that you gotta check out. Kierstyn wrote it. And then fast forward, when we're there at Tune Up, I was already ready to dig into it. And then I read it and it was like just really so real, like really so authentic and so relatable. And I was like, okay, girl, what we finna do with this? It felt also like it wasn't gonna be too challenging to execute for those same reasons. Like it's one character, one location.
Yeah.
It just seems like it could be like a story that we could really tell really well.
Yeah, and on the phone you were you were like, I'm interested in directing this. And I need y'all to understand, like I'm new to this LA scene. I don't know how things work, so I'm like, so you want to direct? Okay, cool. Let's figure something out. And you know, at that point, it's like, okay, money, people, all these things, which I'm very new, so I don't know what that process looks like. But it very much was like step by step. You know, that's what it felt like.
Yeah. And then I just remember Ant bringing us to the table, saying that he wanted to DP and wanted to support us.
Yeah.
And then you pulled this brilliant guy to the table. Like,
Yeah.
what was that conversation like?
Do you remember?
Well, I mean, that's what I was gonna say because that was a big shout out to Ant because I remember him telling me
It was the plug.
about the story before we actually before I heard anything because we had worked on another project prior to Sex, and I remember, I mean, I had my opportunity to work with y'all. I was gonna do it, whatever y'all wanted to do, I was gonna do it. You know what I'm saying?
That's
Just because it's all love. But
yeah,
I just remember Ant reaching out to me and saying like, "Yo, you should check out this project. You know, Victoria's on it, Kierstyn's on it. Like, you know, it's gonna be a vibe." And I was like, "All right, well, yeah, let me see. I mean, whatever. You know,
yeah, we
send
chatted
me."
about it on the set. I don't know if you remember, because we were, you know, having different time or, you know, a little side conversation. You were like, "Oh, you know, you got something?" And I was like, "Yeah." I'm like, this short film I got. I was like, I don't know if I said Victoria was attached already, but she was at that point. And you were like, "Oh yeah, let me," like, so I sent it to you, and it was some time before we like actually like locked in about it, but. Once you read it, you had a bunch of notes. That's what I remember. Everybody's like, yes,
Really?
you always have notes.
The professor.
No, for real, exactly. And so I was, okay, you know, but you were like, yeah, well, you know, we chatted on the phone. I remember I was in the parking lot of Ross, and we're like we're like extensively talking about it. You were like, yeah, just like your thought processes on it, what you think we can do, and I'm just like, yeah, I'm like, you know, y'all excitement about it made me more excited about it. You know what I'm saying? And so like, I remember just being like, okay, like this is my director, this is my producer for this thing, because like y'all were so excited and were willing to bring y'all resources to it as well. You know, so.
Yeah. But I think a lot of it had to do with the script. I mean, I think for me, when I read the script, I thought what I really enjoyed was the perspective. Right? It was a Black woman's perspective on this like kind of taboo kind of thing of like, you know, sending or sexting or whatever.
Yeah.
But I what stood out to me was that unsaved number didn't have a name at first because I'll say I'm a bit of a structuralist when it comes to screenwriting or whatever. So I'm like, why does he have a name? Like we get through the script, and he ain't got no name, but I'm like, after I got through it, and I'm like, okay, this is a comedy. This is funny. Like it's like it's pertinent. It's on point. Like it's current. Like I get that. It's her perspective. It's Zaina's perspective. He don't need a name.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and that's what got me. There were so many points in the script that just felt so authentic. Like being a single woman dating out here. Like there are many times where I haven't saved the dude's number until like you really locked in. Like, okay, I really like you. Now I'm gonna add you. You know what I mean? And there was like, you know, kind of like what you're saying exactly. Like that's a testament to your writing. Like it just felt so like relatable, authentic. Like I was like, yeah, let's really do this. Let's dive into it.
Yeah, one thing that I don't think I was prepared for, but I think it elevated the project so heavily, is that once we got into pre-production, we were talking about production, and I think both of you guys were like, but we should adjust the script a little bit. And so I would really love y'all perspective on like, you know, y'all really loved it, y'all want to be a part of it, but there were elements that y'all wanted more from. And so can y'all kind of talk about like, what you wanted to add, what you felt like was missing, or, you know, just the process, because we had a writer's room, which I don't think that's really super common. I don't know, you know, from like productions, but like I came with a script. I'm like, oh, this is a script. This is what we doing. And y'all were like, great. But and you know, learning is like, okay, they're helping me, you know, but like in real time, it came together great. But like, I'm curious, like, what kind of prompted like, okay, we still need to work on this?
I think so. The script itself was fantastic, but I think there was just opportunity for us to like punch up and maximize, right? So one of the things that like, you know, when we talk about sexting, which can be a taboo topic, right? Especially when you talk about women and being vulnerable and the things that Zaina's character goes through. Like, I think one thing that kind of came up was like, well, who's she talking to on the other end? You know what I mean? And when you don't know who that element is, it could be like, okay, can we fully lean into the comedy of this if there's like some aspect of like concern for her? So it's like, if we show that this guy is also dealing with his own shenanigans, then it takes away that element, and now we can relax into the story and really be present with Zaina and laugh at him and laugh at both of them, honestly, right? And so I think there was room for us to, you know, looking to see who is this guy without taking away the full arc that Zaina experiences. And then in addition to that, like the gags, like there were so many things, like from the her with the bush, right? Her with the period panties again. Something many women, you know, have been through and gone through, let's be for real, right? And then changing different outfits. Like even if you're not even sexing, just I'm gonna go somewhere. What am I gonna put on, right? And I think like that relatability of like, how am I going to present myself? And then especially the layer too of like, as a Black woman on top of that, like there's just an extra seasoning layer, if you will, of like the things we go through. And I just really wanted to help amplify that, you know? And so like with a lot of the suggestions and stuff that we made, of course, making sure that you're good with it, making sure that you rock with it. But I just wanted to help us like really enhance the story. What about you?
Yeah, I think the first thing that really made me want to like it's similar to you want to punch the script up a little bit, because I think I like the idea of comedy and sex, right? This like taboo thing, and making light of it in a way that not only can you grow from it and like learn something from this experience, but you can also like have a good time, laugh at yourself, laugh at your vulnerabilities. Because I think that gives you confidence to some degree, being able to like be comfortable with yourself, you know, and be comfortable and laughing at the things that you might be a little insecure about, you know. And I think that just develops or creates comfortability with yourself. But the other thing that really stood out to me, or that made me think about punching up the script, because I wanted to, when we had that conversation, now that is kind of coming back to me, like I wanted to see more of you on the page, like more of like your style of comedy, what you thought was funny, like, you know, is it slapstick, is it deadpan, like what style do you have to bring? And I really wanted to kind of punch that out and open that up a little bit. We spoke the other day, and I didn't realize that this was like your first script that you ever written.
It was.
You know, which is really interesting, because I think even then it's like, okay, let's really crack this thing open to see what Kierstyn has to say. It's to this topic of like sex and comedy, you know, or this topic of sexting, you know. What I mean? So I think that was what really like made me want to like crack the script open to really like find out who you were to some degree.
And I think those questions were so like just challenging. One, as a new artist, I say new, just this is my first, you know, script and production, but then also like having to ask those questions of who this person is, how much of this person is me, what would I do in this scenario, how different is she from me, right? So like, you know, by the time we're in the writer's room, I know that I'm acting in it, but I have to be a writer first, and then an actor, producer, all the other things. I think one of the specific notes, Jovan, that you gave that like was the most challenging, I'll say, in the original version, when she decides what picture she's gonna send, she just decides. And you were like, why?
Yeah.
And I'm like,
open, dig deep.
She just decides. You're like, why? And I'm like, annoyed because I gotta go do another draft, but that's when the mental health piece came out. And so like I would like for you to speak on that, just because like that's kind of your background, and just that additive as far as directing and what was important for that to be in it.
Yeah, I want to touch on that, but also I want to hang a hat on what you said previously and what you were saying as far as like this being your first project where you wrote it and you EP'd it and you starred on it, and like you are just completely hitting it out the park. So shout out to you in that regard.
I had an amazing team that pulled it out of me, because it was not easy. Pulled it out of me.
Listen.
That I just realized, I'm gonna let you go, but the work y'all two did when we worked at USC, and
I was gonna say that, like, talking about
that was a lot of work, all the rehearsing. I was there for it.
For sure. And we could dive into that, but I do want to answer your question. So like that's what made me lean in even more, because I remember when you asked her like, why did she do that? Why did she decide? And I kind of felt like I understood.
Like, she just decided. Like, why? I'm like,
right. But then, like, when you went away and you came back with the draft, where she kind of had this moment where she kind of like calmed herself. Like she was getting like really worked up about like what's the best way to do this and getting frustrated and all these things. And then she had this moment where she self-regulated in a way, right? And so like I remember an earlier version was like, oh, can we show what this would look like animated? We were playing with that and stuff. And it made me lean in more because again, how often do we get to see a Black woman on screen, not only dealing with all of this societal pressures of like how I'm supposed to present, how I'm supposed to look, what's sexy, what's not, right? Yeah. And then also like, how can I quiet all that noise and go back to self, go back to center? And so like being able to play with the different ways that we were going to execute it. And I love how we were able to, like what happened in the final version. Yeah. I love how that shows on the screen because again, like I feel like, you know, that's extremely relatable and who knows like how it will impact people. So it really made me lean into because it was jokes, it was comedy, it was well written, it's authentic, and then we also had this layer, and I'm like, yeah, I just wanted to lean in, you know, and sink my teeth into it because that's just, I don't know, that's just really impactful to me. So I'm here for everything that is always like advocating for like mental health or working through any kind of challenges and navigating that. So like that really stood out to me too. Yeah.
I'm curious, Kierstyn, what was the process like finding that moment of coming back to self? Like what was that process like for you?
So I had to be very still, like, you know, trying to go back. I probably wrote it like in the middle of the night because like I feel like I have to be really quiet like to figure it out because like you know, you ask the question and I'm like, now I gotta figure this out, right? So it's like thinking about it, and then I'm like, well, if she's and I don't, the original or the version prior to that, like there's no her getting super upset or you know they have their tiff, but like for it to drastically change, because you know you're in an argument most of the time you're like good night, go to sleep, right? But for her to make that point, like I think I had to sit with myself. I had to like, if she really likes this person, right, but she's like frustrated about the scenario, then she's gonna have to come back to self, and like all of her insecurities are probably like weighing on her because she's trying to figure out like, am I tripping, is he tripping, you know what I mean? Because you pick the fight and then like this could be the end of what this is, right? And like, and so if she's really interested in this man, she's like, listen, this is what I can offer you, you know? And so like, I think just because I was quiet, like her quieting what was happening to try to figure out like, what do I want and how am I gonna move forward with this, you know? Because she could have just like stopped texting back and that could have been in the story, you know? But because we knew what we wanted to be the end, like her going to that place of like wanting to shift it in a positive way, you know, and get herself together. So I think that's what I went through.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I'm curious, production, just from a producer standpoint, from a director standpoint, like this was very low budget, you know, low resource production. Maybe if y'all want to highlight like maybe one of the challenging things that we dealt with, and then also anything that y'all are like super proud that we did, you know?
I will say from my standpoint, you know, still very much like I feel like I have a strong writing, producing muscle and still working my directing muscle. I feel like we ran out of time. Timing is always, child, it's always better. And so like working against those pressures was a challenge. But what I loved about just how we came together as a team, we all came together after the first night and we sat down and we was like, okay, we're going to really figure out the schedule, what shots we need or whatever, and just really zone in. And so like I feel very fortunate to have had the team that we had to figure that out. And then just everything producing wise, again, the team coming together. Like I think we shot on my camera. We had another camera that came into the fold. We had PD doing a thing, like people wearing multiple hats. Jovan, you run around. I'm gonna definitely pass the mic so you can, because you was running around, you know,
running around,
solving, putting out fires, solving all things, grabbing things, pulling people to the table for sure. And so we were able to get it done. And I mean, that's really like the beauty of indie filmmaking is like, you know, we have these limitations, but what can we still create and how can we create in a way that is still of good quality and resonates, but just with these resources that we have.
Yeah.
You know, I'm sitting here thinking about it and I'm like, there's some part of like coming together for a film that is just like it's almost supernatural.
It is.
Talk about that.
I've been on other film projects, and
Yeah.
like we never gelled. Like we,
Wow.
you have to usually try to do a rehearsal or some kind of tech rehearsal before
Right.
you actually shoot. And I've been on the projects, and like even in the tech rehearsal, it was quiet. People, you could tell
Oh,
people didn't
wow.
want to be there.
Wow.
It just never gelled. But with this one, like from the get go, it was
Yeah.
like we just gelled. Like I think even at some point we were spending time at the location that we were gonna shoot at, and we were just kind of talking, chatting, and
Yeah.
you know, just kind of coming together and,
Yeah.
and connecting. And I think that does a lot to help production, because I think my favorite part was at the end when we all came together and we took that picture. And
Yeah.
I still have that picture. I don't post it all the time. It's really one of my favorite pictures. It's like,
Sure.
it's just like, I love to see like people come together and like enjoy what they're doing.
Yeah.
I love to see the crew and talking to each other and exchanging numbers and stuff like
Yeah.
that. To me, that is what like really fuels me to run around and putting out fires and want to
Yeah.
make sure everybody, you know, because we had a couple fires.
Yeah, we did.
We
yeah,
certainly did. Like we and we could talk about it. Like
Yeah.
one location we almost lost in the middle of it.
Yeah,
you know
that
what
was
I mean?
crazy.
We was by hook or by crook trying to get things done.
Yeah, we sure were.
We had to pull some crew members in the middle, like right. We had to bring additional people to the table.
Oh, yeah.
We just made it work, and it really like came. Oh, we had to add a pickup deck.
Yeah, we
Going
had
back
get
to
a couple
timing.
Yeah.
We
Crafty from.
We did from the yeah.
Hey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We
We even shot the last day in my bathroom at my old house or whatever. So like we just made it work.
Yeah.
And that's what I really love about like again indie filmmaking in particular, like you said, with this particular crew, because Ant was like, I know good people. I'm gonna bring y'all all to the
Yeah.
table. We're gonna shoot it, we're gonna get it done. And like, you know, people talk. Like people will say that all the time, yeah, I'm gonna work with you, we gonna do something, da da da. And it's just talk and it never comes into fruition.
Yeah.
And what I loved about this crew, everybody was like, yep.
Yeah.
And we finna do it.
And it happened so quickly too. Like, and
Yeah.
you know, I think we planned as well as we could, but like I remember just like being on the phone, like to be here in October and just, you know, figuring life out, and then to be in pre-production in November, rehearsing all December, shooting in January, and edit all the way up to the summer. Like that's crazy. I moved here that like August.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Listen.
Went to work.
Yeah. That wasn't playing around. Like I'm
This
trying to do this
right
thing.
here is living an LA dream. Because again, going back to this was the first script you wrote. This was the first script you EP got into production, put up, and everything. And then you decided to star in it. And mind you, like sex, as you can imagine, is a very vulnerable piece, right? So most people, when they're acting the first time, it comes with the normal excitement and jitters. But this, you know, having wrote a character who goes through this situation, like I always commend you because you were like, nah, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna jump off the porch and do it. And I'm like, girl, I'm impressed with you, you know? So tell me about that decision to say, I'm gonna start in this work.
Thank you. So the original thought, like one, we were like thinking about who we were gonna cast for, like as we were talking about it, right? And so I sent it to a friend that's not in the industry, and he had read the script, and he like hit me back like, if you don't act in this, you like that's stupid not to act in this. Like you need to act in this, basically. And so I had been in improv classes like prior to this, and I, you know, thought about it. I talked to Anthony about it before I even presented it to you, and then I was like, I kind of think I'm just gonna do it. And you were like, oh, okay, well, shit, that saved us some time. Okay, great. And we was like, you know, like a whole thing or a conversation, like, but it wasn't. You was just like, okay. She was like, well, you were like, I kind of thought you might, but you know, we never really talked about it. So
I'm here to serve your vision. So if that's what you want to do, okay, let's get into it. And then from there, like I'm really big on rehearsals. And so that's kind of like what you talked about. We did some rehearsals at USC.
Yeah, we did.
And we walked through some of the most vulnerable parts of the script.
Yeah.
How we want to do it. Like,
in wardrobe.
I was gonna say wardrobe.
Yeah.
The changing in the lingerie, the dancing in the mirror, the shape, like all of that stuff. So talk to me about like what that was like for you. Again, it's your first time.
Yeah, I think that was the start. I mean, the whole process was like just the cracking of my personal self, me as an artist. But like, you know, you say you're gonna do it, but like now you got to do it. So act. And you like looking at me, and I'm looking at you like, like, you know, that's what it felt like. I was like, okay, and like, you know, I think one thing I think that you did like impeccably that I don't think I would have even fathomed how it could have happened. Like I was thinking so much from the writing perspective, right? Versus like, this is funny, I planted these things, but like as the person acting and experiencing these things and walking through her steps, right? Like it's such a different perspective. And like when we were in rehearsals, that's when it was like, and it would be moments truly like, and I was not happy about it, but you'd be like, no, be serious. And I'm like, but it's a comedy. And you're like, this is a serious moment. And I'm like, turn around. You know what I mean? And like redo it over again. And like, you really, really emphasize that piece. Like, okay, cool. What else? You know, because like, I think I was thinking of it so comedically, but like, Zaina is not having fun in this story. You know what I mean? We're laughing at it from the audience perspective, but she's not. And
that's exactly what I was going to say. I think because I was trying to break you out of from the outside in. Yes, this is funny and comedic, but to her, she's struggling to figure out what to wear. She's struggling to. I gotta shave my whole body. Like it's being in that moment sucks. Yeah. You know, and so I just wanted you to be present in the truth of like that moment. And we can laugh on the outside, but girl, you in it.
For sure. And like the one I think the most frustrating piece was when we were in the bathroom and we were doing the shaving and you were like, rinse it off, put it back on, rinse it off. And so like I'm frustrated because I'm really frustrated because I'm like, she got me putting this fucking shaving on, but it's not her. I wrote it. You know what I mean? So I'm mad at Victoria for doing her job, right? So it's all.
But it looked great on camera because again, Zaina in that moment, what is she? Frustrated.
Yeah.
Well, I'm curious because since we're talking about like relating to what's happening in the script, like relating to the text, like I'm curious how like we all kind of relate to it. Like how do we relate to what Zaina is going through, and how do we relate to sexting in general? I'm just curious.
I mean, like being a single Black woman. I just feel like again, like. You know, when you meet someone new, you're trying to figure out like, okay, what's the best way to present myself? And then I feel like little by little, you let more of yourself out, you get more comfortable, same thing with the other person, and you start to feel like you can gel and vibe. But like in the beginning, I think all of us kind of to some degree start to wonder like, oh, should I wear this? Should I wear that? You know, I got to shave my legs. I got to make sure this, that, and the other. And it just becomes like, especially from the woman's perspective or whatever, and the things we're conditioned to, deal with, it becomes so much. And it's just kind of like, yo, either he gonna like me or he not. You know what I mean? And then the thing is, once you're comfortable with a person, like all that silliness doesn't matter. Like we had talked about, like when you first meet a person, like if they want to FaceTime you out of the blue, and it's like, hold on, I might have my bonnet on.
You don't know what I'm doing. You don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah, but like ultimately, again, once you rock with a person, you're gonna answer the phone with the bonnet. Like it's whatever, right? And so there was that. But then also, going back to the mental health piece, like when she had that moment that she had to navigate and learn how to self-regulate, like that is so significant, especially to me personally, because it's like it's something that I've been working on and learning how to do. Like, oh, okay, is this me? Like you said, the question is this me or is this the outer world? Like, what's within my control and what can I do about it? And what are the things I just need to let go and process through? And so, like, all of that, I just really felt like, okay, I get this story. I want to lean into that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I would like to hear yours before I go, Jovan.
I'm thinking about it too. I'm like, I think when I was younger, that was all. I think it was, I don't know if it hit my generation, like it was new at the time, but it was like trendy.
Yeah.
So everybody was sexting. It was requesting or asking or sending or whatever. And I was always like kind of apprehensive to send them, but I always wanted them.
Good old
But I think what's interesting is I look back and I'm like, it wasn't until I went through a period of like deep self-reflection when I was like first moved to Los Angeles, and I like, I didn't really like LA, like, because what all the reasons that we always talk about, but it was a difficult time to kind of transition and to kind of find myself here. And so when I went through that process of self-reflection, that's when I became more comfortable with myself entirely.
Sure.
So at that point, then I was like, all right, like, I'll receive. Like I was much more accepting of my vulnerability and expressing my vulnerability in the same way. So it's like, that's to me, that's how I kind of connected with Zaina, especially when she kind of came back to self. Because I think to me, that's what I value the most, especially when it comes to like mental health, when it comes to kind of your expression of self in your daily life, you know, how you interact with people socially, everything. It's like, it starts with the self. And it's like, once you have that peace and you have that self-appreciation, everything else becomes like much more easy to kind of express, even like expressing yourself sexually with your partner, you know?
Yeah. I think originally writing it, like it may have been more focused on like a dating relationship, like the idea of showing yourself, you know, to people. But like through the process of making this, through the process of meeting everybody associated with it, going through every single step, like it's taught me a lot about like me as an artist, right? Like this being my first project of writing, acting, producing, like, you know, and being around people who have done it before, like being able to show yourself, being able to show your art, being able to show your perspective. And like, you know, people critique, people say, or there can be things that the world perceives from it versus your intention. Like all of those things were just like thoughts as this process was going. Like, I know my intention, what are people gonna think? You know what I mean? Like, I'm a nice girl, and there's a vagina shot. You know what I'm saying? Like, I got a daddy. You know what I'm saying? Like that. No, like he's like, what you out there in LA doing? You know. And so it's
dream.
Living the dream. Maybe you could have did this in Texas. You can show that anywhere, you know, or whatever. But
show that anywhere, Lord.
Through the process, like it taught me a lot about just myself, like my limits, my, you know, understandings of myself and others. But mostly it like allowed me to be more comfortable as an artist. So, like, listen, this is what I have to say. You know, these people are, this is what we have to say, right? Because it's a collective. Like, it morphed into a baby that all of us made, you know? And now it's out in the world and it's doing great things. You know what I mean? And like, you know, the process was long, but like, even after the film was complete, we didn't get a look for a year. You know what I mean? And so like, what do you tell yourself? You put all this energy, money, expression into this thing and nobody wants to see it for a year. You know what I mean? Like, how do you go through that, but still believing in what you did, right? And so I think, you know, Zaina goes through this, you know, process, but I think metaphorically as an artist, and I think, you know, this is what art does, it transforms you, but that's how I receive it now. That's the way I relate to sex now more than, you know, showing myself to a man.
It's so interesting to see how like cyclical everything is, like from like the place where you wrote sex to its evolution to how like the themes in sex, how I can see them play out on set, like in like physical time, real time with like the people that were there, the vulnerability that kind of exists between all of it, like from the script to your rehearsals to us individually to how we gelled on set. Like I can just see it like cyclical. It's all throughout of it. That's so interesting. I'm just realizing that now.
Yeah, and I love the parallels between, like you said, you as the artist evolving and the same thing that we saw Zaina the character going through, right? Because it was both you being vulnerable to put yourself out there to create this work, to star in the work, to get it done and execute it, and then also show it to people, right? Because all of that is levels of you saying yes to your art. And the same thing with Zaina being vulnerable, trying to put herself out there, trying to be accepted, if you will, and then recognizing like, hey, I am enough, right? So all of that, like running concurrently, I think is also just true, like synthesis. Like it's just really dope.
I mean, and I, you know, don't want to ignore, but like the mental health piece too, like, you know, the anxiety that she felt, like those were hyper feelings of that, about the art, about what was occurring, and then having to self-regulate and come back. And come back to you guys, you know what I mean? And so that was really no intention, but like it definitely played out in that way, you know.
How easy was it for you? Because I know you all did a lot of rehearsing, but when you got to set, how easy was it to like do the things you did in rehearsal, or did you have to like restructure anything? Like how easy? Because I was too busy running around.
Yeah, I
the
mean,
process.
all I can remember, I was so locked in on like, we gotta, especially like for our pickup day, I'm like, I gotta be at work at 10. We got there at 4. Like, we gotta get this shit done, you know? And so like, I'm trying to be really present. I think the one moment that I was like, oh shit, we were at Victoria's apartment, or house, excuse me. And I was in the room changing, and y'all were like out in the living room. And I remember putting on these clothes, and then putting on a mask. And I was like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, I remember having that moment, like in that moment. Cause this is my thing, I gotta open the door.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I gotta open the door for y'all to see what I'm doing. And like, you know, like, I remember just being like, I think that was the first time I was like, what the fuck? You know?
Yeah. See,
you know.
What I will say is like the different days had different vibes, if you will, to me, right? And especially like, cause we shot this in 3 days.
Yeah.
We had the day where we shot all the things with the guys. Then we had the day with Zaina in her house by herself. And then we had the day with Zaina in her bathroom. And I feel like the day where we had Zaina in her house and we were shooting, we had the larger crew. It was a lot going on. So it was different from rehearsal for me, at least, because I'm like, oh, we got to stay on time, you know, make sure we get what we need. So yes, I'm very much trying to navigate, like making sure that we get a strong performance from you as well. But then also everything that same day, they were trying to kick us out of the location. And we had to scream. There was so much going on behind the scenes that I feel like I wasn't as present. And then the third day, which is interesting because it's a smaller crew that day. We're locked in. It's just what 4 or 5 of us total.
Our DP and then our sound.
Yeah, we're in the bathroom. And I felt like, oh, me and Kierstyn are here today. We locked in. It's great. It's good, you know. And like, again, that's how you don't know, like, you know, but that's also perhaps the most vulnerable day because like you said, that's when you're in the costume and everything. And so I felt like I was getting like the strong performances from you. I felt like it was usually when we were in that bathroom, it was myself and you, right? Yeah. Just the 2 of us in there. But still, I can imagine like the thoughts, like you said, going through your head, like, oh shoot, I gotta let the camera really record this, you know?
And like, to be transparent, we went through all the wardrobe. You know what I mean? There's nothing surprising. It's just like, it's different when it's cute at the store. And I like, y'all seen pictures of me in it, but like, it was just different. Like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, we're actually doing this. So, you know, we got back to where,
what did Earl, right? Your dad's name?
My dad, yeah.
What did he say when he saw it?
He thinks it's hilarious.
Wow, okay.
He's seen it twice. He was like, it was good. He's like, Debbie, I was laughing. He was at our screening at Dada. That's right. And then he's seen it in Detroit as well. Earl don't care. He cool.
I ain't showed my parents yet. I haven't. No, I don't know. I'm scared, low key.
I mean, I don't know. Are your parents really religious or something?
Yeah. But you know, they pretty traditional. But I'll show them eventually.
Yeah. What you down there doing? I can imagine.
But I think going back to the point of vulnerability, right? You saying yes to yourself, saying yes to the project, saying yes to the outfits, and doing all the things. Look at the way in which that has empowered you to just really kick the door down for the project. Like Debbie Allen talking about it's the funniest thing she ever seen, and you winning the audience award. What I thought was really interesting that, you know, because we didn't get a chance to go to the Broad Humor Film Festival. Yeah. The Debbie Allen screening was predominantly Black, right? Predominantly people of color. Yeah. And then the Broad Humor Film Festival was predominantly the opposite, like a predominantly white attended festival.
Yeah, so it was women comedy.
Right.
Probably like one of maybe 3 or 4 Black films.
Right, and winning the audience favorite. Yeah. You know, and this is a very Black, very specific, you know, we got the nigga I like at the end. Like a very specific film resonating in both worlds, right? And now we're screening Oscar Michelle. Like, it's just a testament to the authenticity of the story and saying yes to that vulnerability, I think.
I mean, we were vulnerable together. Like, y'all pulled it out of me. I can't emphasize that enough. Like, you know, it was, you know, authentic and all of the things that you guys said, but like, there were levels of that and they opened up as we were going through this process. So I wouldn't have chose to do that. You know what I mean? I wouldn't have chose to be as vulnerable as a guy. But because y'all are artists and filmmakers, y'all know what a good story takes to make and what people want to see. And y'all would ask the right questions. Y'all like, there was a point that we didn't know what Unsafe Number looked like. And y'all were like, well, we don't even know what this man looked like. You know what I mean? And so that's something that we need to add. You know, Zaina's going through this thing with wardrobe. What is she putting on? You know, those questions that were really monumental. In my perspective, I'm like, we don't need all that. You know what I mean? But y'all were like, we're making a film. So we do need to see these things, right? So it was definitely collaborative. Like, and I truly feel like, you know, just even the process of making this, like, it was the exact right people who made this film. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think, I mean, you know, as artists, like, we mold the thing based on our surroundings and, you know, environment, but like this baby was made by the exact right people who needed to make it. I truly feel that way. So
I love it.
All the way down to our production crew.
I will say too, like, I wish that the other co-star, Derek Sterling Kirkpatrick, could be here to talk about it too, because we made him uncomfortable as well. We gave him a very significant prop that he had to work with. In addition to that, he couldn't talk the entire time. So we used Jovan's voice as a voiceover for it. And so we also had Andre and Khalid doing improv the entire time. So they're just riffing. They're just going in on him. And he can't say anything the whole time. Meanwhile, he has this appendage on him. So, like, you know, like, it's so much, like, situational and stuff comedy. But again, being vulnerable enough to say, you know what, I'm going to put this in there and I'm going to go with it. You know, so I'm just glad that both of y'all said yes, we'll go there. You know,
I don't emphasize this enough, and I've like said it out loud, but like a lot of the comedy came in our edit. You know what I mean? Like crafting the story through edit. So Victoria, can you talk about that process? Like going through editing? We kind of did together, but like I think you and our editor Kevin Moore did a lot of that crafting.
And did a lot of the timing, a lot of the meetings together. Just really, what I love to do in the edit room is auditioning. Like, okay, let's play with this. Let's see if we cut this together. Can we go back and forth? Because it was. In a way, we were trying to balance both Unsafe Number and Zaina, like where they're doing, how they're moving through the script and whatnot, but giving priority over to Zaina's character primarily because she arcs. But I think, you know, one of the main things, we had a lot of her changing and trying different things, and how can we cut that together for it to be comedic and funny and whatnot. I kind of low-key want to look over at Kevin and be like, what you think?
I mean, if he was down with being on camera, we didn't even, it looks like he bombarded him right now because I didn't say anything about it. You know what I mean?
Kevin is like, I'm behind the scenes.
No, but like, you know, I don't know what it would have been like with someone who isn't comedic, but like Kevin he's a funny guy and like he loves comedy, right? And like a lot of, you know, this is from working with him at Sex and like other projects. And I didn't know how important this was, but like for him, there's a joke that Andre has like when they're playing the video game, and like that is like one of the funniest jokes to me.
5 years?
Yes, that's one of the funniest jokes to me. And I'm like, it was so nuanced that it may have gotten cut. You know what I mean? With somebody else, right? And like, and in the audiences, a lot of people don't hear it either, which is really funny. But like, because we watched it a million times, like, I'm like, oh, this is like one of my favorite jokes. It's hilarious. And like, just thinking about, I mean, I think you were very intentional about certain, like, you know, transitions you wanted, like, you know, Zaina closes the cabinet, and things like that. But like, there are so many jokes that like really hit. But I think because our editor is a comedian, it works.
He knew, because he like generally they put together the editor's cut, right? And so that natural timing is in there, and then we just tweak and build off of that from there. So the script being a foundation, and also what the editor sees, and then just evolving it. But like, even with those jokes, like again, those were off the cuff. That was improv. You know, the guys just were meant to go in, and Sterling can't say anything. And so whatever they said, he just had to eat it.
I just take it. We had go ahead, sorry.
Well, no, you know, I'm curious too, because like to look at Sterling's or Unsaved Number, because like yes, he was a source of comedy, but like I'm also curious how like what you think he represents in context to or in a relationship to Zaina and her journey. Like what does he represent for her? Because to me, like I think because we spoke about it before, this like expectation of vulnerability, like as an artist, like as an artist, you're expected to be vulnerable, but it's not easy. It's difficult. It's difficult to show really tender parts of yourself, you know. And I'm curious, and I guess to me, Unsaved Number represents this idea of like an expectation of vulnerability. He like, yo, when you gonna send this number, and he low-key putting pressure on her. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like, I'm curious, like, what to y'all, what does he represent for?
So I have to process think, but like originally, Unsaved Number was a prop only because like we didn't know what he looked like, right? And so as it transitioned, and as far as like expectation of vulnerability, like from a dating perspective, like, you know, there's different levels of dating, but like at some point, if it continues, you have to be vulnerable, whether that be, you know, whether intimacy, sharing your feelings, thoughts, and things of that nature. And so like, it's kind of a progression of like, if there is no level of vulnerability, like low key, what are we doing? You know what I mean? And not particularly in the sexting concept or sex in specifically, but like interacting with somebody, dating somebody, talking to somebody, building a friendship with somebody, being an artist and putting yourself out there. Like at some point, you have to show more, right? Or like, are you only gonna show, like, are we just gonna stay here, right? Like, we just gonna be texting, you know what I'm saying? And so like, there is an expectation of vulnerability, but I think there's a timing associated with it too, right? And so like, you know, we don't go into super context about like how long they knew each other and this is that, like, but I think that plays into the expectation, but like to Unsaved Number point, it's like, you know, you left me hanging last time, like what we doing? You know what I'm saying? And so like from a Zaina perspective and just from like a artist perspective, like at some point you gotta put it out there and figure out what this is, you know? And so that's my thoughts on that. Like it has to be out in the world, right? Like this film could have sat in a drive, but at some point, why do we make it if nobody's gonna see it, you know?
Interesting.
So,
Yeah. I think when I think about Unsaved Number, I see like a duality, right? What he represents to Zaina's character is like you said, like the expectation of like, okay, well, when are you gonna send me this? What are you gonna present? Like how basically that pressure, you know? And then on the flip side of it, what does he represent, you know, in the sense of like, how does he navigate the same situation in the sense of like, I think we had conversations about like, where we did want to understand and see who this guy was so he wouldn't be like the mysterious stranger danger. But like also too, what is he going through? Okay, he got these other males there and they're like, oh, you talking to hoes. You know what I mean? Like, what is his expectation when he's trying to navigate relationships? Because I think there's a whole nother conversation that can be had about when a guy likes a girl and how other guys react to it. Oh, you simping, you over there caking, you this, that, and the other. And so like, he wants to converse with this lady. He's texting her, right? He's texting Zaina. But then he also has the friends here. And they have certain expectations. When we're boys, we hanging out. Like, what does that look like? And so I think he's also navigating the expectation of, you know, this versus that. How do I show up in these spaces? All right, y'all got to get out because I'm dealing with this.
This is more important.
Right. And so, like, with that, you know, I thought there was a nice tension there for him. And then, you know, it kind of, you know, how can I, now that I've gotten rid of this pressure from the guys, like how can I get back to interacting with this woman? And, you know, I'm joking, I'm playing, but I still want her to know that, you know, I like you, you know? And so I think there was a lot to play with when it comes to like how he shows up and presents on screen.
Yeah. And I think that's interesting too, because even though like Andre and Khalid, their characters were like a big source of comedy, and even like that whole their like Unsaved Numbers perspective, there was a lot of comedy there. Like it was hilarious. You know, but there's also this depth to it where we're seeing his perspective, how he shows up in these individual spaces,
Right.
what decisions he's made, what decisions he makes, where his desires lie. Like,
Mhm.
I think, and even his own vulnerability, even though he comes off as someone who seems like who's more comfortable to show his vulnerability,
Yeah.
but yet like he still wants Zaina and he wants
Yeah.
something from her. And
Yeah.
like, in order for him to do that, he has to change. He has to kind of go through his own journey to be accepting. And I really like the way you wrote him. And you gave him like a perspective, like you gave him what do you call it, duality, essentially.
Yeah.
He wasn't just like a one-trick pony. He wasn't just like, all right, you know, where I'm gonna get this picture. Like,
Yeah.
he wasn't just this sexual deviant. Like, he was
Sure.
very much so like
Yeah.
a balanced character. And I think we don't see that often with men, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Especially in these kind of roles. They're usually like hardcore sexual kind of creatures.
Yeah.
But
Sure.
you added perspective, you added nuance to it. I think that was great.
I second that. Because there was a way in which, you know, they talk about the Mandingo black man, where he's just seen as this sexual desired figure, and he just sleeps with everyone. But like you said, there was, even in the short, just depth to it. And like Debbie said, people want to see more, so we got to see if more comes. But, you know, that's the whole, you know, another thing to talk about. But one thing that I want to ask both of you, I was like, what were your favorite moments? Like, what moment still tickles you? Like you said, that 5 years.
No, yeah.
But like, what are your favorite? Okay, let me ask it this way: what were your favorite moments like when we were shooting, and then what were your favorite moments when you went back and watched it?
I think my favorite moment, I got two. So I think Andre and Khalid, they killed it. They were hilarious to me. I like when they were knocking on the door, like why are you knocking on this man's door in the bathroom? Like, like let him, like what are y'all doing? Like, you know. I thought they were hilarious. I love the banter back and forth. I love their relationship, you know, how they were just like ragging on this dude the whole time. And he was over here like being all lovey-dovey and stuff. I thought that was one of my favorite moments. And then my other one is when Kierstyn's in the mirror, she put on the mask. She's like, I'm sorry. Zaina is in the mirror. Zaina's in the mirror and she's got her mask on. She's like, yes, bitch. Like, I thought that was one of my favorite parts. Yeah, that's definitely, those two.
One of my favorite parts, and this is to watch. I don't even remember doing it, but Zaina's in the mirror and she puts a gun to her head. So in the script, I don't know if y'all remember, it was like she's giving gangsta bitch. And so I remember one of your notes was like gangsta bitch. You're like, okay, so she like props her leg on the counter and she puts a gun to her head. It's insane to watch every time I see it. I'm just like, what the fuck? I mean, and mind you, like it's her finger, so people can perceive it, but like in my mind, that was gangsta bitch. Like she got a gun, she put it in her head. So like that is insane to watch. Every time I see it, I'm just like, this is crazy. But I think experiencing the guys, like they were going crazy. To your point of like the improv, like they were going crazy, and I think they gelled really well on set. And so I think that was my favorite part of that, because I'm like, you know, that was our first day, and I'm like, wow, this is going good. You know what I mean? Like it was early, but that was going good. So.
And they required no direction. Just you sit here, go.
Yeah.
Nah, but they were like part of my. I think one of the funniest moments. I like all of the stuff in the bathroom, even though that was probably, like you said, the most challenging, vulnerable part.
Sure.
I was also most excited to shoot that too, because it felt like, again, I've been there. I'm like, oh, I gotta rush and shave or whatever. Like I felt like I'm excited to see her go through that process. Plus, we had rehearsed it so much too. Like I wanted to lean into you dancing and stuff more, but we run out of time to play with all that. So I like.
You were like, you were like, turn around, you're like shaking. I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. I remember saying no. Like, no, it is.
It's the stuff you do when you're alone. And it's like, when we're alone, I don't know about y'all, but I'm a weirdo. So like, I just do whatever. And so I thought that was just so authentic and fun to play with. Yeah. And then as far as the things to watch back, of course the guys making jokes. Of course, I like the different outfits and she's becoming a different person. But then also again that moment where she just hums herself. Like I just love that. And I don't know, because I feel like when you're watching too, it's tension, and then it just allows you that chance to breathe. And so that's just always really nice.
I forget that you guys did this, but in the edit, the first time you hear her say like something negative, it's before like all of the thoughts come, and it's just like a little like nugget. And I don't know how many people catch it, like audience members, but every time I watch it, I'm like, that was such a good choice.
Well, you show is ugly when she
Girl, we cut that. You wanted that joke so much. It's subtle. It has to be because I'm like, but like it was like, it's something. It's like you're stupid. Like it's very simple, but it's early. It's before, like I think she's still texting or something like that. And I'm like, dang, that's a good choice because it starts with the little, voices, right? And then it builds and stuff. And so I'm like, dang, that was such a good choice.
Yeah. And then I like the ending, which has been there, I think, from the beginning, where she says the number. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that is his name.
Yeah.
I love that. And I'm like, yo, that's progress.
Yeah, right.
Again, the growth.
No, for sure. And it's baby steps, baby. You know what I'm saying?
Baby
Like she still don't know for sure, but she knows she like him a little bit. This worked out. So we talked about the journey. Like I said, we shot in 2023. It's now 2025. What is next for us? So we're in a couple of festivals. We're gonna be in a Michelle Film Festival. But what's next for Sext?
What's next for Sext? So we are campaigning for the 57th annual NAACP Awards for the live action short form film category. And I think that we will be a very strong contender. I don't know if y'all want to chime in why, but I have an opinion as to why we would be great.
Why do you think, Jovan?
I mean, just to reiterate everything we've been talking about this whole time, I think the piece is relatable. I think it really hones in on the vulnerability behind like sexting, behind being sexual, behind just vulnerability in general. And I think not only does the story itself express that and it creates relatability, I think throughout like the production, through our crew, shout out to our crew, they were fantastic, they were incredible. From the crew, from the impetus of coming together, like everything, like we kind of exemplified it and exemplified what was in the story, like all together, like from the beginning to the end, you know what I mean? And I think that is what I think makes a good candidate for an NAACP award.
And I just think we're the best, so y'all should vote. I mean, like, clearly. Miss Allen loves it, the world loves it, all of our audiences love it. But truly, like, it's a testament to us as artists, Black artists in this time. Like, the world is going through a lot, but we're still able to make things that relate, that bring heart to people in the situation to help them feel seen and heard. It may seem like it's juvenile with sexting, but like showing yourself in any capacity is a process. And so this is the film that does that. And so y'all should just vote for us because we're cute.
No, absolutely. And you guys both hit it already, like in the sense of like, how often do we get to see a story about sexting from a Black woman's lens and perspective? Often when you hear the term sexting, people get like, oh, this is going to be taboo. Yeah. But we pull you in with what you think, oh, this might be risque, or this might be taboo, or this might be, something that might make you clutch your pearls. Right. But you come in and you're laughing. Yeah. And then you come in and you get some real, like, oh, this is about a woman navigating and trusting herself. And this is about a guy, being authentic and leaning into what he really likes. So it becomes a story that's so much deeper than what is initially, seen on the surface. Yeah. And I think it's beautiful, like you said, like how the story came together in itself. And a Black man was like, hey, Black woman, I want to support you. And I want to bring another Black woman to the table. And I want to bring another Black guy to the table. And most of our crew is predominantly people of color, just out here making something that, from a very Black lens, but also resonated with a very non-Black film festival. Yeah. So it's like the message is universal. It holds true, but it's still so specific and nuanced. And I think it's what people would be looking for, like they said, and plus we cute, like you said.
That is the number one reason.
Yeah. We're talking about mature topics, but I think one thing that's really important too is young people how to have a miscommunication and work through it, right? Because I think, this is a little sidebar, but cut off culture. Oh, you said this, I'm never going to talk to you again. But it's like, Zaina and Unsafe Number were initially not on the same page. Zaina checked herself, and Unsaved Number kind of retreated inward a bit too, and they were able to come back and figure out some common ground. And I think, how often do we see that on the screen? So again, there's so much that you can pull from this one particular film. So that shout out to the brilliance of the writing and the execution. And that's why you got to vote for Sex. So cast your ballot, vote for Sex.
But yeah, any closing words, any closing thoughts just on sex in general and, you know, anything?
I'm just very proud of like what we've done from the very jump of like, hey, Kierstyn's got this script.
Yeah.
And even you writing the script and giving yourself permission to say, yeah, let me put this on the page, all the way to, you know, like really you kicking the door in, like from where we are now. Like you wrote it in 21. It was shot in what, 23?
The top of 23.
23. Then 25, it stars Debbie Allen doing his thing, and Broad Film Festival winning an award, and Michelle Film Festival, Oscar Michelle Film Festival, and now we're campaigning for the NAACP Award. So I just really think like it's a true testament, and it's such an organic thing too. Like there's no sponsors behind this.
Nope.
There's no big budget behind this. This is a true testament of what we can do when we come together. And I think that in itself is so important, because we're living in a time where there's so much erasure and marginalization. People's projects are not being greenlit, or they're being canceled, or not being supported. And we're showing you with the resources that we have, we can still shoot for the moon. And so that in itself too, I think is something that the NAACP and the committee and stuff can really get behind. Is look at what happens when we as Black people, we as people of color come together and create something.
Yeah.
I'm just excited. I mean, you know, I think I'm excited to see the evolution of the project. Like it's evolved. Like it's a constant evolution. Like it's been evolving from when you wrote the script, from even before you wrote the script, when you were like whatever you were going through at that time and what you put on the page.
Yeah.
And from there to where we are now and to where we'll be in 5 years. Like I'm just excited for the evolutionary process of the film. And I think, you know, like even Debbie Allen was saying, like it screams. It screams for the long form, begs for the long form. You know, and that could be anything. Like I mean, we could see all types stage. We can see, you know, everything, art, galleries, whatever. It's just I'm excited for the evolution.
Yeah. Well, we have
long form. Any thoughts or ideas on that?
So when every time I hear long form, I'm like, well, what money, right? Like that's where my mind always is. I think previously I've thought of Sex as like an anthology, and like every episode being kind of like a dating situation and what it would look like in a different, because this one is so specific, what it would look like in different situations. I keep asking myself, I'm like, y'all want to see 90 minutes of sex? Like, and to be honest, I'm like, 90? Like, this was 15. Y'all want to see 90 minutes of it? And people said, yeah. Right, but I'm like, you know, like 90? You know, keep asking that. So I don't particularly have any ideas, but if we can get some funding and pay our crew, we can get some ideas. Yeah. So, but yeah, what are y'all thoughts on the extension?
Yeah, I know, like at one point while we were shooting or whatnot, we potentially, or before we shot, we were talking about potentially like a series or something. So I think you've been living with the idea for a series for a while. I know you say anthology, but I'm sitting over here thinking like, but what happens between these two?
Right.
Does nigga I like finally get a name and they finally meet up in person? Like I'm so curious.
Yeah.
You know, and even how did they originally meet? Which I think was something that was a question that came out when we were like digging into the script. And so I think there's room to explore either before or after in a longer format. So, you know, I could see a feature potentially doing this thing, or I could see, you know, episode 1 and whatever that evolves into. But I do want to know what happens.
Okay, well.
Absolutely.
Give the people what they want, right?
Okay.
I kind of like that idea, though. I mean, it's like it's an anthology, but like Zaina and Unsaved Number is like the main characters, and you know, let's say it's like a 10 episode series, and we have like 3 or 4 episodes that are specific to them, but we also see how dating works, you know, within these other
that would be
worlds.
cool.
And I like it because the sex itself, it calls for that. Like there's this whole world of dating and dating
Mhm.
digitally, and
Yeah.
like, you know, if you're on Tinder or Hinge, like there's all these, there's so much, such a big world that exists
Yeah.
within sex that we can explore for 7 seasons.
Well, we're open. Call us. You know?
Solid.
But this was great again, and we are so excited for everybody to see the film. Hopefully, it'll come to a streamer near you, a city near you, an audience. You know, every audience we want to see it, and so yeah, keep supporting independent filmmakers.
Hey, thank you.